Now, coming to take your question on Obi being unable to contest primaries, and if he contested primaries with against Ralph Nwosu and lost twice. When I see these things, I feel so pained that people can deliberately come to the media and tell lies and peddle falsehood, thinking that everybody is dead. I was a founding member of APGA. I was its first pro-tem national treasurer. At some point, I exited my office and continued to work for the registration of the party, bringing support to the movement. I also brought Obi to be supporting the movement, giving money, everybody to see if the party can be registered. The other day, I saw Kenneth Okonkwo on television, raining abuses on Peter Obi. I have had cause to discuss with him privately about last year. I told him, don't do this thing you are doing because you will regret it. He said, no way, that he will not work with Peter Obi again over his dead body. As we are moving in 2023, it was difficult for Obi to get a running mate from the north. It was difficult. All the people that we met who will discuss, they will agree and say they will come in the morning to sign papers. The next morning they will call you and say they will not be able to do it. Because when they go and meet people who reason like Datti, they will run away. Because he's not the running mate now, to be. I don't know for what reason why he's criticizing. Today, Kwankwaso, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, came as a willing collaborator in this mission. So for him to now say that the North will not support Peter Obi, I would like him to say that he will not support Peter Obi. He's entitled to it, but he cannot speak for the entire North.
All right, welcome to Naija Unfiltered, a SYMFONI podcast. And our guest on today's edition of the program is former national chairman of APGA and currently the senator representing Anambra Central, Senatorial District. Chief Victor Umeh is our guest. Good to have you.
Thank you. Good morning. It's good to be here for the first time.
Right, thanks. You and your ally, His Excellency Peter Obi, has moved from Labour Party to ADC and now to the NDC. Let's have the whole movement, what's all about, and the conversations that have led to these movements.
Well, all these things have happened in a public glare. Yes, we left Labour Party and went to the African Democratic Congress, and from there we are now in Nigerian Democratic Congress. It's just for a purpose. One is that the platforms you have mentioned became ambushed by some powerful forces who have been after Mr. Peter Obi to stop him from taking part in the 2027 presidential election. When Obi joined the presidential election in 2023, he was not given any chance, particularly as he picked his tent with the Labour Party that was hitherto not reckoned with as a very strong political platform. So he was dismissed from the onset that Labour Party had no structures anywhere in Nigeria to afford Mr. Peter Obi the opportunity to have a very strong showing in the election. Those of us like myself who has been in this journey with Mr. Peter Obi since 2001 knew that they were not getting it right. They were not looking at his message and his political trajectory. Because the way he came into Labour Party to run for president was the way he came to run for governor of Anambra State in 2003, relatively unknown. Nobody gave him any chance, but I knew after we met and agreed that he should run and I would support him, I knew that he had a positive message of change for Anambra State. And because of his attitude and approach to life, he wasn't somebody that the crowd would like, because he came with a disruptive mindset. At that time, if you had money to share, you become very influential or recognized. But Obi came, even though he had lots of money, because he had to prove to me that he had very strong means of livelihood and business. Gave me his profile, and at that time, he had a $25 million business, in 2001. You know what it meant at that time, but you will not see him flaunting money or wealth. He lived a very humble life, was not used to buying cars and all that. I think in the beginning he bought Mercedes S-Class, and after some time he sold it, and he never bought any luxurious car in his life again. He's concentrated on building his business, and he was able to come up very strongly. So at that time, when he came into politics in 2001, everybody dismissed him with a wave of the hand. But gradually, we walked up the ladder, went to work, and his message of change resonated with the people of Anambra State. Because at that time, Anambra State was known for a lot of wrong things. The political environment was corrupted. People were groaning for help. They wanted somebody who would bring a change. It was at that time that the build-up to breakdown of security and order was at its peak in Anambra State. So he started asking, he printed a leaflet. What was written in that leaflet was, are we cost or are we the cause? So he printed that leaflet, and we were going around to see people, giving them this leaflet, like Jehovah's Witness people, and people were reading it. He put his hand on the cheek in that leaflet. So as a thinker, because Obi read philosophy at the University of Nigeria and Nsukka. So he's a thinker up to this moment, so a philosopher who has read about great philosophers of the old. And we went to work. It didn't take us time. We got the attention of the whole state. And people started seeing him as that person who will change the narrative in Anambra State. So people were there, and that time PDP was ubiquitous, very strong in the state. That was nearly 2 years after Obasanjo's presidency. And a lot of elements in Anambra State were tied or connected to the Obasanjo presidency, So, but we didn't, it didn't deter us. He told me that, the first interview I had with him, I told him that PDP was very strong in Anambra State. How can you fight these people? I was of the PDP then. I was a founding member of PDP. At the time, I became state treasurer of the PDP in 1999. But I had just resigned from the PDP in 2001 after the presidential primary in Jos, where Victor Umeh, who led the formation of the PDP, was humiliated. So I resigned from the party. I went away. That was the time I met Obi in March 2001. So from that time, we built up the momentum, got into the election, and he won with landslide votes in that election because of the PDP entrenched status in the state and generally in the federation. They rigged the election. They changed the results to the election. But I had predicted to be that, well, if you want us to go, how long will you last in the race? He said he was going to last so long as he was seeing me. Because he was recommended to see me he was advised to see me by Professor Datti Ahmed then, that if he will run for governor, he should go to Enugu and look for one Victor Umeh at his friend, who is also my mutual friend, will bring him to me. Our mutual friend, late our friend Nwosu. So he came to my house and we discussed. He came to Enugu to look for me. I think, yes, 24th of March or thereabouts, 2001. So at that session, he introduced himself to me and told me he would like to run for governor. And it's been referred to me by Professor B.C. Nwosu, whom I had supported for governorship in 1999, but he did not work. And he told me that he was determined to do that. I started asking him probing questions. He said he was at the University of Nigeria in Nsukka. He graduated in 1984. The same year I graduated from University of Nigeria, University of Nigeria, but I was in Enugu campus. He was in Nsukka because he read philosophy, I read estate management. So deeper questions revealed that he hailed from a neighboring community to mine. That was not the reason, but I had the opportunity to ask about him. So I went through his CV. His CV was very impressive. That is where he wrote that his turnover, business, $25 million annually. So he didn't look somebody who was controlling such business, and he was level-headed. So when I asked him, how long will you last in the race? That PDP, you may win, they will take it away from you. He said, so long as I stayed, that he would be willing to stay the course. I said, okay, let me ask people about you. He gave me 2 weeks. I asked about him, his classmates and all that, people who knew him. They gave me different sides of their knowledge of him. But one thing that most of them repeated was that Obi was a very frugal, prudent person. He has money, but you can't get his money easily unless for a just cause. So I said, if that is the only weakness he has, no problem, let's go and do it. So when he returned after 2 weeks, I told him that this is what people told me about you. Your friends in the CKC and those who knew you at the University of Nigeria and Nsukka, that you are very tight-fisted. Is that the truth? He said, well, anybody can say anything, that he works for his money and that he uses money very prudently. He has allergy to wasteful spending. So I said, if that is your offense and your sin, no problem. We can go on and work together. So from there, we took off. I've been with him till date. So we went through a long journey that you could see. So coming back to our movement in the recent time, I've explained to you that the people, after seeing his stunning performance in 2023, from where they said he will not get 1,000 votes, he pulled 6.1 million votes credited to him, despite that he scored, I'm sure he won the election. Obi's votes, if they were all recorded for him, I'm sure he got up to 10 million votes, but it was downsized to 6.1 million votes. So when he gave that shocking performance, they now knew that he is somebody to watch in 2027. So all efforts of government in power were channeled towards stopping him from being part of the election in 2027. And that's why from Labour Party, they struck in the Labour Party, destabilized it, and took over Abure, the national chairman of the party, and they started aiding him. When it got to a head that INEC, by itself, issued a statement that Abure's tenure as national chairman of the Labour Party and his entire executive had lapsed. They stopped recognizing him. They stopped dealing with him. They stopped inviting him to INEC Interactive Forum for political party leaders. So the party became apprehensive, and we had to come together to start to create a new leadership for the party, since the one that we had, the tenure had lapsed, and therefore they cannot recreate it themselves anymore. If you don't take appropriate steps when your tenure is running out to convene congresses and convention to renew your tenure, Once you don't do it and tenure lapses, you cannot begin to call congresses and convention when you are no longer in office. So we analyzed it. I was party chairman. I was national chairman of APGA for 10 years. So I saw the danger in the leadership of Labour Party at that time. We met and decided to come together, the major stakeholders in the party, particularly the elected people like us, and the Senate, House of Reps, electorally the governor of Labour Party in Abia State, and many other major stakeholders who came together in Umuahia and decided to put a caretaker to be able to conduct congresses and convention to create a new leadership for the party. It was in that process that we appointed Nana Usman as the caretaker chairman of Labour Party. I was even in the caretaker committee, among other people. We had a 29-member caretaker committee. And when we started, of course, Abure threw himself on the side of the authorities. They started sustaining him, and we went to court. They went to court, everything, obtained judgments and all that. We followed them all with appeals. And finally, on the 4th of April, 2025, the Supreme Court determined that Abure was no longer chairman of APGA. Chairman of Labour Party, because the Court of Appeal had sustained him. Federal High Court and Court of Appeal sustained him, and we went on appeal to Supreme Court that the court had no jurisdiction to determine who the leadership of a party should be. And that's a very landmark judgment. Still, INEC refused to obey it. We took the judgment to INEC. All of us, maybe you covered us that day, saw the commission leaders, gave them the Supreme Court judgment. They refused to implement it. They refused to recognize Nana Usman and her caretaker committee. From 4th April 2025, and getting to end of the year 2025, we decided that instead of running around, that the best thing to do is to leave the place. Because if we continue there, we will not be part of any visible political activity in 2026 that we are now. So when we left on the 31st of December 2025, we joined ADC party. We were part of the coalition that formed ADC, because we were part of the unveiling of the ADC as a coalition on the 2nd of July 2025. So we felt there was nothing to wait for again. We moved over there. By then, we have seen a lot of litigations from Nafiu Gombe, yes. So we felt that the way they have come in there, that the authorities were bent on destroying the party. Moreover, while we had the Supreme Court judgment that set aside the Court of Appeal judgment, they went to Nasarawa High Court to obtain an interim order that Abure should continue to be recognized by INEC. Have you seen anything like that? Supreme Court has said that this man is no longer the national chairman of the party, and decided to go to Nasarawa High Court, where they obtained an order, interlocutory order, not even a final judgment, that INEC should continue to deal with Abure. It was with that Nasarawa High Court order that they sustained Abure until we left the party. So when we left the party on 31st December, 7 days after, 7th of January, INEC dumped Abure immediately. They invoked the Supreme Court judgment, that his tenure has lapsed. And within quick succession, the United Usman Caretaker Committee went to the Federal High Court and obtained a positive order that INEC should recognize them. After of course, I don't need to go into what passed under the water for that to happen. So we went into ADC, and our movement to ADC brought new momentum to ADC. The coalition now became very prominent. People started moving there from all over the country. And you know how the party had risen to an incredible height, and because of the party's soaring height, Nafiu came up again with Nafiu's matter in the High Court. The Court of Appeal struck on the 12th of March and said that INEC should now maintain status quo ante bellum, in which case that in their own INEC interpretation that ADC no longer had a recognizable leadership. So Nafiu Balagombe, or whatever he's called, had no faction in ADC. Only him went to court, and the authorities were able to aid him to hold the party at the jugular, using the Court of Appeal that made that order. And INEC followed up by announcing that they no longer recognize either David Mark, that has a full-fledged National Working Committee and National Executive Committee, and putting him side by side by an individual, Nafiu Bala Gombe. So this was what we saw playing out, and the confusion raged. The matter the man put in court since September 2025 now assumed prominence in the media, and the matter proceeded to the Supreme Court, because when it started in September, the way they handled the case said they should put on notice. The lawyer to David Mark's leadership felt that the matter was internal affair of a political party, and said they were going to appeal against the order made for them to show cause why that injunctions and relief sought by Nafiu will not be granted. That's what the thing that traveled to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court on the 30th of April determined that the parties should go back to the trial court for the court to hear the matter expeditiously. But in the interim, the Supreme Court set aside the order of maintenance of status quo ante bellum, that the Court of Appeal was wrong to have made the order. So before 30th April, on the 29th of April, the Federal High Court in Abuja delivered another damning judgment against the leadership of David Mark and voided all the congresses and convention already conducted by the party. So any same person who is serious will not stay in such organization, because you are now staying there on an uncertain arrangement. So that's why we decided to hurry, because the window for movement was just less than 1 week away. If you want to go to another party, you must arrive there. Your name must be in the digital register of that party by the 10th of May. And parties were hurrying to close their register to meet the deadline before the commencement of primaries and all that. So we calculated it and saw that the only date we have left was 5th of May for us. We had to review our chances and decided to move to the Nigerian Democratic Congress, that at that time was stable, and also stable to date. I had to go and do due diligence check on the party, and discovered all the things around it, and felt that as a party administrator, I knew that the party would stand the test of time. So we chose it and joined the party on the 3rd of May to be able to register, resign from ADC, register before they move their registers to INEC digitally. So that's what is responsible for the movements we have seen. And it's only a tree that will be standing when it is being threatened to be cut down. Then you go and cut it down. So I don't want to go into other things that were happening in ADC, but this is the principal reason why we left the place, and joined the NDC.
All right, there are those who have insinuated that Peter Obi has a morbid fear of primaries. And for someone who has also followed him way back to 2001, during the APGA days.
I didn't follow him. We started 2001.
Okay, you started together
there.
Now,
so we are brothers.
Yes, we are brothers. Then there is this argument that he lost the APGA primary twice to Ralph Nwosu, and somehow he was given the ticket. I think you should know. What's the true position?
Before I go to that question, let me use something to describe to you why the movements we have made and Obi has made can be justified. You know, the small animal called the rabbit. You know, the rabbit lives in a hole. And in the hole, the rabbit will prepare an exit from where it will go out when there is something danger in the hole. You know, I know you know what you know what I'm talking about. So when hunters see the hole, suspecting that there might be rabbit in it, sometimes it may be a snake. What they do is to go and get a bunch of palm, and then put fire on it, go and put it on the hole. So the smoke will go into the hole. The rabbit will now be choked. It will run out from the exit, emergency exit it has prepared for itself. So if you are there and you've discovered the hole, you go there and wait for it, otherwise to jump away. So these movements we've made was to avoid this asphyxiating situations we have confronted in the party. Now, coming to take your question on Obi being unable to contest primaries, and if he contested primaries with against Ralph Nwosu and lost twice. And when I see these things, I feel so pained that people can deliberately come to the media and tell lies and peddle falsehood, thinking that everybody is dead. I was a founding member of APGA. I was its first pro-tem national treasurer. At some point, I exited my office and continued to work for the registration of the party, bringing support to the movement. I also brought Obi to be supporting the movement, giving money, everybody to see if the party can be registered. Because at that time, it was only PDP, that was the visible party in our area. So we needed a party that we can use to challenge the PDP. That's how we got into registration of APGA. So I played very critical roles in getting APGA registered. And upon registration of the APGA, I became its first national vice chairman, Southeast, and later on, national treasurer, before I became national chairman. So there's nothing about the party that is not in my palms and in my records. When I left as pro-tem national treasurer, that was when Chubo Kadibo introduced Ralph Nwosu to Kwankwaso. And he joined within a period of about 6 months. It didn't last more than 6 months. The party was now registered. And at that time, we were bringing money from everywhere to support the end of the process. So when the party was eventually registered, I became the national vice chairman, Southeast, to go and set up the party in the Southeast. That was the assignment given to me. And along the line, about 4 months after the party was registered, Ralph Nwosu, who had become the national treasurer with my exit less than 1 year, declared the intention to run for governor of Anambra State. So he had to leave office if he wanted to do so. But he decided to remain as national treasurer, and he was running for office of governor in Anambra State. So that was in 2002. But the party was registered on the 22nd of June, 2002. We were in America to attend the World Igbo Congress, in Houston. And one early morning, Okonkwo, because I didn't know him much at that time. That was the first time we saw ourselves very closely. He came to he knocked on my room door, and I opened. He came in and started talking to me. That he started to come and meet me. That he would like to run for governor in Anambra State, in 2023. So I said, oh, very good.
2003.
2003. So I said, oh, very, very well. I'm happy to meet you. And I told him, because we had prepared so much for Obi's contest of that election in 2003. Starting from 2001, we had traversed everywhere. We had mobilized support and public acceptance for Peter Obi. So Okonkwo hadn't been known in the political field in Anambra State as at that time. So I told him honestly that I will advise him to run for Senate. That the momentum that had been built around Obi with the stakeholders in the state, that I don't see him becoming the APGA governorship candidate. Particularly that I know that Kwankwaso had been privy to all these arrangements, so that it will not be possible. My own in politics is that if you meet me today, I'll tell you the truth about any matter. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. If it hurts you, if you go and reflect over it, you must still come back to face that truth that is bitter to you. So we left Houston in October and got home to Anambra State. Immediately we were returning from that World Igbo Congress, Ralph Nwosu had gone to Oka to hold a declaration that he will be running for governor. I said, what type of thing is this? Declaration that he will be running for governor. So he started talking to party folks. I will make you commissioner for special duties. I will make you commissioner for this. I will make as a politician, he decided to corner the people in the party to tell them that once he gets in, it will be good for everybody. Obi, in his frugal attitude, could not make any of such promises to anybody. So as we were moving, the stakeholders had chosen Obi to be the candidate. In fact, he was the only candidate that could have done that against the PDP. Because as soon as he joined the race, anything he needed to do to be able to be in the race, he did. He went and bought 2 brand new 504 SR saloon cars. At that time, it was a very good car. And himself, who was running against him, you could see the vehicles he was using to go and tell people he will make them this, he will make them that. So, but I was the one who stood by Obi, and as the national vice chairman southeast of the party, I was able to assess them to know who will win the election. I was able to assess the pulse of the state. So I knew that Obi would be unstoppable. So I now stepped in and advised that we should take this the stabilization of the party with these frivolous offers very seriously. And the party decided that it will not conduct any primary because the constitution of the party empowered the party to do selection of candidates. That if the party finds anybody it feels can win an election, they should get the person and give the person the ticket. In 2000, that's for 2003, because we just got registered. That was what the party decided. The party decided that it would do what is called screening of aspirants and select candidates through screening, not primary. And it was advertised that expression of interest, people should come and buy expression of interest for governor. Nwosu did not buy expression of interest. He did not buy. Peter Obi bought, paid 3 million. Others paid 3 million. The screening was for the entire Southeast zone.
3 million then?
Then, and the screening took place at Hotel Presidential in Enugu. I was there, and the chairman of that screening panel was Barrister Max Yopu. among other, because he was the deputy national chairman South in the party. So it was that screening that was done, and that was in December. So the build-up to announcing those who won the screening. In Imo State came Philip Njemanze. In Anambra State, late Mike Obalu and Okoye Aboli Okoye Agu from Anambra State. In Enugu, it was Ugochukwu Abala who brought the expression of interest. In Abia, it was Carlo Okpozo that bought the form because people were not coming. And when we did that, the party published those who won the screening exercise and announced them as the candidates of the party. Okonkwo did not come to the screening. It was when we were doing the screening that we heard in the news that he organized a primary at Manu Hotel OA and declared himself the winner of the primary without the leadership of the party involved in that. That is the primary he said he won against Peter Obi till date. So I don't know why somebody should be, even Kwankwaso Korea can tell you this, because he was the national chairman. And when that happened, he now noticed that Obi has been chosen through that screening exercise. Ralph Nwosu came to Abuja here with the national secretary of the party, Said Baba Abdullahi, and they addressed the press in Abuja here on the 30th of December, or 31st of December, 2002, and announced the expulsion of Kwankwaso Korea and some other people from the party, and announced himself the governorship candidate of the APGA. We left, all of us left the East and proceeded to Abuja. We arrived at Abuja here on the 31st and had a formal National Working Committee meeting of the party where we suspended them. Then we fixed a convention for, I believe, 10th of January, 2003. At that convention, the party expelled Okonkwo and his co-traveler, Alhaji Said Abdullahi. Two of them were expelled from the party. And we continued. It was at that convention that I was asked to become the national treasurer again, which I had vacated to become the national vice chairman Southeast. You see? So that is it. So to answer that question clearly, Peter Obi did not contest any primary with Okonkwo. Once, not to talk about twice, and Okonkwo won. Not at all. So when I saw him also telling the story recently on a television, I wondered how somebody can be telling himself lies and thinks that he can sustain it till the end. And people will be buying it, that he defeated Obi in a primary. Okonkwo was no match to Peter Obi in that contest for APGA ticket. Not in terms of resources, not in terms of connections, not in terms of focus and integrity and character. So I don't like people going out to talk down somebody because of their convenience. Now, today, we have been part of the ADC. His party was ADC. At that time, we had strained relationships for some time, but along the line, we came back together again because we are from the same state. And I started having good relationship with him again because he saw clearly that what I told him will happen, happened. Obi went to that election with all the challenges and odds against the party in 2003, and he won. If it were to be Okonkwo at that time, APGA wouldn't have won the election. So nobody would have heard about APGA. And because I was the pillar of that struggle with my experience, I stood for Obi in the courts. I was the PW1, prosecution witness number 1, that tendered all the results of the election in 2003 for Peter Obi, because I was the state collation agent for him. I was the one that planned the election for APGA at that time, because we first had the National Assembly election. APGA won both everywhere, but they changed it in favor of PDP. I only managed to secure the Federal House of Representatives seat for my constituency, Anocha Njikoka Dunuko Federal constituency, because both myself and Obi were from the same constituency. So all the things they did, I didn't allow them in INEC to steal that one. The REC let Alhaj Hassan Suleiman from Kano. I told him he must not fail to declare this result, because there's nothing to wait for. PDP was already waiting to bring in figures from outside to come and change it again. I insisted, I made noise, and I ordered them to declare the result. That was the only House of Rep seat we got in 2003, because I protected it. So having seen that the results, they allowed the elections to take place in the polling units, and we got all the polling booth results, EC8A ones, for that election. We now decided to prepare for the governorship, that they will do the same thing. They will conduct the election again and go higher up to allocate figures and announce a PDP candidate. So we told our agents to go after the polling booth results on the day of the governorship election. So while the election was taking place and they were announcing results, our agents were busy getting the EC8A ones, returning them to Peter Obi's home, where we had set up a desk for collection of these EC8A ones. So by the time the exercise ended, they announced PDP winner of the election. I returned to our situation room, and we had got all the polling booth results stacked, and it was taken to the bank for safekeeping. And we announced that we were going to challenge the result in the court. That's why we went, and I was the PW1 that tendered the entire polling booth result, EC8A1s, in the entire local governments of Anambra State. I proved it. I was in the witness box for 1 month, September 1 to September 29, 2003. I was able to withstand the cross-examination from the senior advocates that represented INEC, represented Ngige, and represented the PDP. They subjected me to very grueling drill on those evidence I adduced. They couldn't discredit my evidence. So that was why, in the end, the tribunal determined that Obi won the election. And that took us nearly 3 years to prove in court, 30 months, So that is when people come out today and say things that they don't know about, I pity them. It was during the prosecution of this petition that we had further crisis in APGA. That was what led the change of baton from Kwankwaso to me. Because Kwankwaso went to support Ngige, who his party stole our mandate. He went to him and told him to join APGA. Not even to join APGA, he declared support for him. That he has never seen anywhere where a governor was unseated in Nigeria. It was this our election petition that removed somebody for the first time in court in Nigeria. So Peter is not somebody that is given to very easy routes. So we went through the court and then to Court of Appeal. A lot of things happened. And eventually, on the 16th of March, 2006, the Court of Appeal in Enugu declared that Peter Obi won the election. And it was sworn in on 17th of March 2006, after nearly 3 years. So he faced impeachment again, and we fought through the courts and got him reinstated. So he's not somebody you can push over. He's very, if you see him, because he's very humble, you mistake his will. His willpower is immense. And he's somebody who can last. He's very resilient. He's very tenacious. So when we came in 2023, and they were saying he will soon run away, I said, these people don't know who they have met. So we'll continue with that in 2023, and he gave that result he gave. So Okonkwo, in summary, should tell himself the truth. He never contested any primary with Peter Obi, because contest of primary is when you are voted for. not when you are running around, say you are an aspirant. That's not the context. The context is when you are subjected to a vote. So Peter Obi and Okonkwo were never subjected to a vote through a primary, because I've told you the circumstance of our selection of our candidates across Nigeria, not only in Anambra State.
Now we are back to some of the issues, people moving, and then all reactions. Yusuf Datti, who was his vice presidential candidate under the Labour Party, criticized his defection and described his decision to leave in the middle of the crisis in Labour Party as not the hallmark of a great leader. And he said he could have stayed in APGA, that if he couldn't stay in APGA, Labour Party, ADC, how can he solve the problem of Nigeria? Do you agree, or do you have a different view to all this?
Peter Obi's strategic vision is the answer to all these things they are saying. Somebody who has a strategic mind will know when to move from a place of discomfort to go in pursuit of an ideal. Peter's ambition is to provide service to the people of this country. He did it in Anambra State. And if you have a vision, you have to know when there are bottlenecks to your achieving that, realizing that vision. So now that it became obvious in Labour Party that Peter Obi's performance in 2003 had upset the ruling government, because Peter has been widely acknowledged to be the winner of that election. It doesn't matter how he ended the court. This is a democracy. The court has spoken, and everybody will abide by it. And Peter, in his nature, took the decision of the court, and he's not causing any problem in Nigeria. But he continued with his vision to find a way to come and help to reposition the country. What the country is facing today shows that Nigeria is still in need of leadership, so that we'll be able to get things better for our people. Tinubu may have done well in some places, but there are so many gaps that need to be closed in leadership. So he's in continuous search for that opportunity to do those things as a philosopher that he needs to do to change things around in Nigeria. One thing that Peter believes in is disruptive action. He believes that you cannot do the same thing all over again and achieve a different result. He knows that the lifestyle of Nigerians and the type of governance Nigeria has witnessed over the years, responsible for a monumental failure, cannot continue. There must be a break from the past to behold the future and have a new direction. So if you see Obi will tell you that he is here on a mission to put the country back on a track to real development. And Peter considers governance in Nigeria to be very expensive and wasteful. That is why I can tell you, I've not seen anybody in my life who can husband money, who can keep money more than Obi. He can never, under any guise, spend money unjustly, even in his own personal life and business. So that is why Obi, with all the money he has, he will always maintain a low profile. That is the first discipline you need to provide leadership to any society. If you can't manage money, you cannot keep money, and shun ostentatious lifestyle, you cannot serve the people, cannot meet the needs of the people. How much more Nigerian people that are in hundreds of millions in number? So that is one thing he's going to bring to government, that Peter will not be, his head will not blow because he has seen money. Today we are hearing about trillions of money in budget. Those things are just mere figures. Peter Obi, if he's the president, any money he finds, he will use it justly. When I told you how we started in 2001, Peter will come from Lagos to meet me in Enugu, for us to go to Anambra, because I live in Enugu, to go and meet people, stakeholders and all that. He will come and he will stay in the room. And I was observing him. Peter will come, open his suitcase, I will see maybe 1.5 million naira mint in that suitcase. He will close his bag. Then we'll go to Anambra, move around, talking to people. When we return, on the way there he will go back. I'll be looking at him. He will pack that bag again. I will see those 3 bundles of money still in the bag. He won't spend it. But he will be making pledges. Later he will send money, checks, 100,000, 200,000, as the cost of things were at that time. So if he were to be the ordinary politician today, by the time he goes to Anambra, that 1.5 million will come back to Enugu with him. So I knew that of him. And in my relationship with him, I said it on television recently, but last week, I have never related with Obi for the past 26 years for the money he can give me. Because I know he will not give. And if he doesn't give you, you get offended. I knew it from day one. Because I told him in the interview I had with him that I was told that you don't give people money. You are tight-fisted. He told me, no, he doesn't spend money. He said he was allergic to wasteful spending. And I told him it will not be a problem between two of us. Let us go and work together to serve the people. So all these people calling him names today on television are people who will go for that money that they think he has, and he will disappoint them. The next thing you will see, they will get angry and run to television and start calling him all kinds of names. The problem is the money. But it does not mean that Peter cannot spend money on things he's convinced about. You can ask him for money now, he will not give you. But tomorrow you will see Peter spending money either in a hospital to pay hospital bills for those who are sick. You may see him donating money to nursing schools, health facilities, hospitals and schools. His own personal money. He does it up to today. Going to ID camps across Nigeria, in Bauchi, in Jos, anywhere. Where there's a disaster, you see Obi will go there and donate money. But those who are around him will feel that this man is very wealthy. And you give him bills to pay you money to go and do this, and then he will laugh. He can give you money, measured money, not money that will make you his supporter to go on the rampage. So is that consciousness of him that I have gotten used to since 2001. And those who do not understand Obi will continue to misunderstand him. The other day I saw Kenneth Okonkwo on television raining abuses on Peter Obi. I have had cause to discuss with him privately about last year. I told him, don't do this thing you are doing because you will regret it. He said, no way, that he will not work with Peter Obi again over his dead body. How can somebody like this be there? You have things to do, he will not give you money to do them. And but since he has not been giving people money to do this, has his public acceptability diminished? It has not. Because people know him that he's committed to doing the right thing. He will spend money wisely and justly. If it's something that I, Victor Umeh, will spend 5 million naira to do, Obi will spend 500,000 naira on it. Because he will manage it. So that is the difference between him and people. So in terms of not staying behind to fix the problems in Labour Party, then ADC, he has moved. And now he's an NDC. I laugh at them because Obi has consistently said on television that he will never be part of transactional politics. Transactional politics is where you give people money to support you. He said he will never do it. We want to do primary, you budget 500,000 naira per delegate. Obi will never do it. I know he will never do it. Because all through APGA, I worked with him till date. I know he will never give you money to put a vote for him to win a primary. So if they're saying that he doesn't run, it's because of his personal conviction that he will not use money to buy a position to serve the people. That if he's spending money to buy his way through, if he gets to office, he will steal the money belonging to the people. Obi says that I will use public money for public good in Anambra State. He served for 8 years, and on exit, I have the handover note where he handed over 75 billion naira. 75 billion naira. Cash and investments. He had $150 million investment in Diamond Bank. $150 million. Because he believes in saving. As money was coming, he was working, he was saving money. $150 million and then 75 billion naira. If you check all these things, you cannot find it in the record of any politician in Nigeria. Somebody who can serve, and with all the great works he did, with all the cries of people following him for largesse, he refused. He was able to leave such money behind because he was saving for the future of the state. So that is what they don't understand about him. So I always laugh because I know him, and if you go for that, you will not get it. Even if you put a gun on his head to go to primary where they are sharing $5,000 per delegate for him to become presidential candidate of any party, he will never do it. But still he has been able to move through it, navigating his way through. In the Labour Party, it wasn't the same thing. He was able to become candidate of the Labour Party. In APGA, he didn't pay money to people for votes. He was able to become candidate of APGA 2 times. I was national chairman for those 2 times. I was involved in the process. He didn't pay money. We were convinced about what he wanted to do for the people, and he became candidate. He performed. In Labour Party, he didn't buy his way through in Labour Party. Party Tommy stepped down for him in the convention. Because Party knew him and knew his mission. He became the presidential candidate, and look at what he did. If I had been president for the past 3 years, with all the money available, you will know what I'm talking about, physical discipline. Obi knows how to husband money. I've made it abundantly clear. And I can tell you that what makes him condemn excessive borrowing going on in Nigeria today is because he believes we have not managed our resources well. So nobody should be angry with him. And now that they said they ran away from ADC, the style in ADC, we met all of them, because I went to ADC with him. We met the presidential aspirants too. And we know what they told us. And if Obi had remained to go into that mad chase of the ticket with dollars and the rest of them, he will be missing his principle. So we have gone to NDC, and it is working for him again. Dixon, the leader of the party, recognizes his abilities. As these things are happening in Nigeria, Nigerians are now moving to NDC in droves. NDC is the fastest growing party I can imagine in Africa. We joined the party on the 3rd of May. Today, go to their portal. Several millions of people have registered with the party. Before we joined, it wasn't like that. So people have identified Obi's mission. And mind you, those who are joining the party are not the people who are playing any role in the party. The electorate are registering with NDC because Obi is there. People in ADC are now crying, calling Obi names because Obi left. And when he left with almost the conscience of the party. Because what is happening there is not what the public were waiting to see. And he moved, and the people have moved with him. The electorate are waiting, not party members, not even those who go to television to talk. Those who voted for him in 2023 will be eager to vote for him again. So somebody who sees the odds against him in a process of initiating change will always know how to move to keep his vision and aspiration moving. The presidential expression of interest form for NDC that was advertised on the 12th of May had lapsed on Sunday night. Only Obi purchased the form. It was made available to the public by advertisement. So if God is not preserving him, for a mission, somebody would have gone to buy the ticket and bring confusion there. So he has emerged as the sole aspirant. Today he will undergo screening by the panel set up by the party. And if they clear him, he will be the sole candidate in the primary. So he will now achieve the first hurdle, or crossing the first hurdle of being a president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, being nominated. So when he's nominated, he will now go to work. So those who are criticizing him are wobbling. Datti, when we left Labour Party last year, Datti remained. He continued to work with Aduri. He continued to attend their NEC meetings and all that, trying to give them buffer, support. And eventually, where is he? He has left the same Labour Party. He resigned. He's now in the People's Redemption Party, PRP. So he couldn't stay. So why blaming Obi for leaving when Peter Obi is now be credited to be a man who saw tomorrow? So if you are visionless, you can get stuck in the mud. You can't make a movement. It was because Peter has great sense of anticipation that he's able to plan ahead of others in the movement. And I'm happy to be associated with him, because when some of these things start, he will tell me what he wants to do, and I will analyze them. I will analyze them and tell him what to do. This is the way we have to go. To go to NDC, I was the person who did the due diligence check on that party. So when Umeh Ado started talking on television that NDC would be registered, I had gone into the matter. I had read the judgment of the Federal High Court Lokoja that ordered INEC to register NDC. And I knew that that judgment has not been appealed against since 10th of December 2025. And you have 90 days to appeal. That has lapsed long ago. Aside from that, what was the issue before the court? Issue of similarity of logo between APC and NDC. At the court, the judge asked everybody in court, these two logos, one is a broom, one is a two fingers victory sign. Are they related? Are they similar? Everybody in the court started laughing and said, no. They are very distinct logos. Because the only thing that will make INEC refuse your registration will be principally one, that your acronym is the same with the acronym of an existing party, or that your logo is the same with the logo of an existing party, or that there is anything in your organization that will make you not eligible for registration. So the NDC passed all the tests, but the issue of logo that INEC refused to accept. And then NDC went to court to compel INEC to register it, to review this action. And the court found in favor of INEC that the victory sign, two fingers, and the broom are not anyway similar. So what will you go to challenge again? So I did that check. I interviewed the officers of the party, both the legal advisor, national legal advisor. I met with all of them. And I reported to our team. I looked at other parties. I identified the weaknesses in other parties, and I advised that this is the best place to go. Particularly, as I could also confirm that Siriake Dixon, senator, who is my colleague in the National Assembly, is the leader of the party. Siriake Dixon has a character that nobody can manipulate, because we serve in the Senate. He's never afraid of speaking for justice. You follow us, you follow our plenaries. So I said all the other parties that may be available, I cannot vouch for the durability of the platform, because once the leaders of those parties are compromised, you'll be left in the lurch. So I said, let's go with NDC. Everybody agreed. That's how we went to NDC.
All right, Datti has also said that Obi Kwankwaso combination may not sell in the North, that the North may not rally around the Kwankwaso ticket if that comes to fruition. What do you think?
Well, it is a statement, I believe, that is made without due sense of responsibility. One is that the northern Nigeria is not a homogeneous society. You have the youths, you have the middle-aged, you have elders in the entire north. Somebody cannot come out today to say on behalf of the north that the north cannot support a certain candidate. The time when we're using such primordial sentiments in the politics of Nigeria, the time has since gone. The youths of Nigeria today, irrespective of where they come from, they are looking for good governance. They are looking for a secure, prosperous future for themselves. The time when ethnicity played such roles in Nigerian politics, we have seen that Nigeria has not fared better. So what people are looking for is a new Nigeria. And that's what Peter says, that it is possible. So for him to then say that the North will not support Peter Obi, I would like him to say that he will not support Peter Obi. He's entitled to it. But he cannot speak for the entire North. We've been involved in consultations everywhere in Nigeria, both northern elders and when you meet them, you analyze issues, and you can take away the truth that Nigeria is changing. It's it's no longer when there is a prejudice against certain people. Those who are using those prejudices of the past to stand against maybe an Igbo man becoming president of Nigeria will be cut off like oxbow lake. You know what an oxbow lake is? An oxbow lake is a lake you find on the course of the river to the ocean. When the flow of the river becomes weak, it will not be able to pass through some thresholds on the river course. It will be cut off. Then the lake will be there. It's called an oxbow lake. Water will run around the place and the lake will remain. There's what is called agents of denudation. I read geography. So when the river is on its course, it becomes weak towards emptying into the ocean. And because the force of flow has become weak, it started meandering. It will start meandering. And in the process of meandering, sometimes some body of water will be cut off, others will continue, and you have a lake. So what I'm trying to tell you is that those who are impervious to the need for a new Nigeria will see Nigeria take them by surprise. They will be swept away. As we are moving in 2023, it was difficult for Obi to get a running mate from the North. It was difficult. All the people that we met who will discuss, they will agree and say they will come in the morning to sign papers. The next morning they will call you and say, please, they will not be able to do it. Because when they go and meet people who reason like Datti, they will run away. But eventually, by divine providence, we found Datti through recommendation of some people. A very good man, a very brilliant person, but I think what he is grappling with is improper analysis of political situations. We got him, and he played very good role, very supportive role, canvassing support and speaking nicely. That's why today, if you go to online, you see a lot of great things he said about Obi before now. And two, because he's not the running mate now to Obi, I don't know for what reason why he's criticizing. Today, Kwankwaso, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, came as a willing collaborator in this mission. He came as a willing collaborator with his clout in politics, former governor for 8 years, former minister of defense, former senator. He was able to accept to run with Peter Obi. That is the difference. So he's still talking about what happened in 2023, where he lost his word in Zaria. That is what he's still thinking about. It is not like that. Kwankwaso can never lose his word. He cannot lose his constituency. I can bet anything on that. No matter how the ruling party tries it, they can't do it. So Kwankwaso has committed himself to this change, to bet a new Nigeria. At our convention, he spoke. At our convention on the 9th of May. I was standing by him when he was making his address. Tears were actually dripping from my eyes, where he said that Nigeria needs healing. He traced the political relationship between northern Nigeria and eastern Nigeria and southeast Nigeria in particular, starting from 1954, with the northern elements, People's Union, NEPU, led by Aminu Kano, and with NEPU, Sadana, Ahmadu Bello, with Northern People's Congress and NCNC in 1959, that bettered the First Republic. He was able to say again how Shagari worked with Alex Ekweme and how they all did great things for this country. So he didn't come to this ticket because he's looking for power. He came out of a personal conviction that he can work with Obi and change a lot of things in Nigeria. So the idea that nobody from the north will vote for Peter Obi, it will catch up with some people, definitely, but it is not going to make much meaning in the election because this poverty and hardship is ravaging both the north and everywhere in Nigeria. If they see hope, they will grab it. Nigerians will grab hope. The insecurity in the north and other parts of Nigeria, he said at the convention that himself and Obi will tackle insecurity. So all the promises they are making are things that inspire a lot of generations here in this country. So we'll leave it at that and pray that the process will be peaceful. Let everybody, including the ruling party, let's look forward to an election that will be credible, free, and fair. There's nothing about somebody wanting to provide leadership or to challenge a leadership that is in authority. That is the way you bring reforms and better government. In America, have you seen where Republicans have stayed for 20 years? It cannot happen. That's why they have maintained Republicans and Democrats. They will try you 8 years, they shift to the other side to test the two sides of the coin. And that's why American democracy has become enduring. It has endured. Here in Nigeria, because of our level of development, anybody who gets to power wants to perpetuate himself in power. It should not be so. Those of us who are in the opposition, we're not in the opposition because we cannot join the ruling party. In fact, and one of the people APC approached with all kinds of offers to join them in the wave of defections in National Assembly. I did not do that because I believe in the principle of multiple democracy, multi-party democracy, that the people must have a choice. Anything that is happening in a society where the people have no choice, that place is doomed. Because the democracy is government of the people, by the people, for the people. The hallmark of democracy is election, where the people, the citizens, will reserve the right, the sovereign right, to vote in for somebody and vote out somebody who has not met the expectations. So that is what it is. And I believe that if we're able to keep it that way, as we move on to the election, there's nothing, by the time any administration leaves, there must be good things the administration has done, but there must be better things another administration could do. So let this thing be in the subconscious minds of Nigerians that somebody being in opposition is not an enemy of the government in power. It's to act as a gadfly. It is the opposition that will keep a government on its toes to perfect what it is doing, knowing that the anger of the people will run on them if they continue to fail. If the opposition is not there, then democracy will lose its fineness. That ingredient of self-correction by those in government.
Let's look at the NDC zoned the presidency to the south for a single term of 4 years. And some persons are wondering, is it possible, so in case His Excellency Peter Obi wins, can he leave after 4 years? Is it a verbal agreement or is it a written agreement?
However you look at it, the truth is that there are people who are noble in character, who want to have a sense of mission. What Obi says is that he wants to spend 4 years in office and leave because he recognizes that there is a rotation of presidency between the north and southern Nigeria. Buhari did 8 years and left. And now Tinubu came 4 years for the south, And in 2023, the APC could not succumb to the mindless push by some people that a northerner should succeed Buhari. It took people like Malam Rufai, and some men of good conscience to prevail on APC to go to the south that paved the way for Tinubu to become the presidential candidate of APC. Because it is only equitable and just for our national unity that power should rotate. If we get better with time, it may be rotation across geopolitical zones, not over north and south as a divide. So because of that, Tinubu was able to get the ticket of the APC. And now that Tinubu is in power, it is only prudent for any rational human being, right-thinking person from the south, to seek that office for another 4 years. That will make it 8 years for southern Nigeria. After 8 years in southern Nigeria, the presidency should go back to the north. Until such a long time, we will win ourselves out of such considerations. But today, you must do that. If you don't do it, you'll be told that you are doing something that is out of turn.
But do you think people would believe that it's possible for a sitting president to leave after 4 years?
It is absolutely possible. There are precedents to it. Nelson Mandela was president of South Africa for 4 years. He came out of prison after a 26 years incarceration. And with the wave of that freedom, he became president of South Africa. Nelson Mandela was adored and idolized in South Africa. He stayed 4 years as a noble man who chose to remain in prison for the freedom of his people for 26 years. He said, my bones are getting weak. I'll spend 4 years and heal the nation of that humiliating deprivation that they are not worthy to serve in their country as president. The apartheid regime crumbled and he became the first black president for what he spent 26 years in prison. Because he was a noble man, he said, I'm leaving after 4 years. He served after 4 years and he gave up power and left. That is, people like him come once in several decades or 100 years in any society. So he did it and he left. He paved the way for others to come. Thabo Mbeki, Jacob Zuma, Cyril Ramaphosa now. So he was the man who laid the foundation with his own self-denial and punishment on behalf of his people. When it was the fullness of time, with a very great contribution made by Nigeria to get independence for South African blacks. He said he has done his best. And when the death came, he left. His name is evergreen on the sands of time. South Africa, Mandela, Nelson Mandela, he is the hero of that nation with the support of Nigeria that did everything globally to mobilize independence for South African blacks.
let's even look, for the sake of argument, those from the southeast, if Peter Obi wins, those from the southeast, won't they feel cheated that he will quit after 4 years, after they've been denied opportunities?
No, we won't feel cheated because we're part of Nigeria. Just like you said again, remember that Jimmy Carter served America for 4 years. And he didn't seek re-election, Jimmy Carter. So these things are everywhere. It depends on the mindset of people who are looking for leadership. There are people who are revolutionary in character. They do unusual things. And Peter says that if he comes, he will change a lot of things. First of all, the perception of the Nigerian people. They hate the sight like that of Datti, who said that the North will not vote for somebody from the Southeast. It's a sight. It's a sickness. And there is a way somebody can walk and he will heal the nation of that psyche. Nobody can think like that again. So even if all those things that Peter is able to do, among other things he will do in the economy before he leaves in 4 years, he would have made a very big mark. I know that in 4 years he will surprise everybody because he will come prepared. Then for the Southeast will not feel cheated. We have never been president of Nigeria from independence. Zik was president, but Tafawa Balewa was prime minister and head of government. So all that time till date, we've not had the opportunity. Others have had it. So if you have it for 4 years and break that jinx, you have been healed. That's what Kwankwaso is talking about. That healing must come. And we'll pursue national unity in a manner that we have never had before. So our people will not feel cheated. First of all, the South we belong to has only 4 years left. So if we're able to get 4 years of the 8 years the South is entitled to, we'll not feel cheated.
All right.
Because when it goes to the North, they will do 8 years, it will come back to the South. That rotation, if it's maintained, one day a Southeasterner will become president and run for 8 years. But we need to bring the jinx now. So they will be happy and are desperately waiting for Peter Obi.
All right, Nigerians see the 10th Assembly as the worst assembly, rubber stamp assembly. They said everything the president presents to them, they pass, including the Electoral Act 2026, with its flaws. How did we get here?
Well, Nigerians should be honest to themselves. What we don't do is that we don't do what is called reflection or looking to things that have happened. We condemn things without looking at the causes of the problem. What is the root cause of the problem? You people are complaining about National Assembly. There's nothing to have anybody would have expected from the 10th National Assembly other than what is happening today. We were all elected to the 10th National Assembly, and you know how our leaderships emerged in both chambers. This is about talking truthfully. Those who are now challenging the National Assembly should know that the president played a great role without being diplomatic about it to bring the current leadership of the Senate and the current leadership of the House of Representatives to be. At least he invited all of us to the villa and spoke to us, all of us, that he wants this person to be Senate President, he wants this person to be Speaker of the House of Representatives. So he didn't hide it. And he knew what he was doing. He knew as a politician that he needed the legislature to back him up in whatever he wants to do. So he went for it and got it. It's at that time that those who are crying today would have joined when the president was wanting to choose the leadership for the National Assembly. That's when they would have joined, particularly armchair critics in the media and journalists. When they call us rubber stamp lawmakers, I feel pained because those who put this question, like you, are telling me now that we are rubber stamp. I'm pained by the question The reason is that you have not been able to analyze it and know that the National Assembly could not do anything than what you are seeing today. In the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, we, those of us who believe that Nigeria needs a very credible, transparent, free and fair election, did not support some of the amendments, particularly the very controversial one that sought to remove automatic transmission of electoral results, electronic transmission of results, to the IRF portal. We did. Many members of APC believed that it should not be so. They believed that there should be automatic transmission of electronic results to the IRF portal. APC senators and House of Rep members, they believed. They supported it. It was through the committee levels. Everybody agreed. When we came to the National Assembly, to the floor of both Senate and House of Reps, the party interest came up. The APC members were in the various committees, both in the House of Reps and the Senate, and they agreed to it. So when the report now came for clause-by-clause consideration, the party now decided to rein in their members. And they voted against their conscience to remove automatic transmission of results. We rallied, we fought. I was on television every day, challenging that, forcing them to now come back to amend what they did. Because what they passed was a transfer of result. They didn't say electronic or anything. They now came back and agreed to electronic transmission of result and now added, provided that there is no network failure. Just like giving you something with the right hand and taking it away from the left hand. I went on television again and argued against it. But the people will know that in the parliament, the majority will have its way. The minority will have its share. When we put it, we called for vote division on that issue. It made them to be uncomfortable. Because those in the Senate, on the other side, that's from APC, who agreed with us, did not want the division, so that they will not be exposed, to the anger of their party leadership. And when we call for division, division means that everybody will vote individually. When you call for division in a parliament, then that's why you have yes or no vote sign in the chamber. So that when it gets to knotty issues like this, and one side calls for a division, the Senate is compelled by procedure to go for division. And that division means you take a roll call. Senator Victor Umeh, on this issue, your vote, I say yes or no. That is what the division means. But in our own case, because they regulate their proceedings. The Senate has the Senate has the power to regulate its proceedings. It's in our rule book. So when the leadership decides on how to conduct its proceedings, it is binding. So leadership, knowing the danger of allowing individual votes, when they call it, like they did in the third term agenda, they called for division on the third term agenda under Obasanjo's presidency. They will call you and you get up to the full glare of your constituents. They will know where you voted. If they call you, you don't want to end the wrath of your people. You vote according to their wish. So in this one, they said it's going to be by voice vote. Voice vote is nobody's vote. You cannot credit voice vote to anybody. But in the case of this one, we insisted that we must salvage something. Let us indicate by standing up when they overruled us that it will not by individual voting, so that the votes will be tallied by the recorder. And I say those who want this clause amended this way, say yes by standing. You stand up and say yes. And if you stand up in the chamber, your party people will know where you voted. Then those of us on the opposition, some of us, but not all of us in the opposition, were courageous enough to stand up against. We got up and we were counted with our hands raised high. We said we want automatic transmission of electronic transmission of results. We were counted, we were 15. And they took their own count to the other side, they were 55. They were all standing because they're in the majority. By then, the Senate had been depleted from the minority side. Many crossovers, defections had taken place. So, but we were proud, 15 of us, to stand and say no to it. We are recorded to have said we are against removal of automatic transmission election results to the RF portal. That is the way it should be. So we are not rubber stamps. But because the APC now, I don't know how many there are in number, now there must be 80-something in the Senate out of 109. Now maybe out of 107, because 2 senators are dead, they've not been replaced by a by-election. So if you go there, what will you do? So I want to say to Nigerians today in this program, if there is anything that they don't like happening in the National Assembly, they should blame the APC. It's APC that is running the National Assembly. You can't use mud to wash all of us. Because those of us who understand the issues that need to make Nigeria a strong nation and a virile democracy, we understand it. We're there, we may be few. And the election is by the corner again. I'm not campaigning against anybody. But those who don't want such rubber stamp again, this is now the time to work. This is now the time to go to the people and select people who can stand up for you and resist any pressure against speaking the truth or standing in support of bills that will emancipate the Nigerian people. Don't go to bed. Today now is everywhere. We're moving again. Very soon, we will assemble, people who will win will assemble in the 11th Senate. If you are not able to take corrective actions now, do not ever call the National Assembly a rubber stamp assembly again. Because the citizens have the power to evaluate the performance of their representatives and know who to send back and who not to send at all. This is the way to build a nation. I'm not saying the 10th Assembly is a failure. We have done a lot of great things. Where we may have failed Nigerians is in the area of management of the political process. In terms of bills and laws we have made to help this country fight both insecurity and all that, we've been united in doing all that. It is for that same reason that we have been supporting anything the president requested for, so that he will not blame anybody if he doesn't deliver. But I think it has come to a stage where now everybody will answer his father's name.
All right, one other area that Nigerians are really worried about is the implementation of our budget, the issues surrounding our budget. Right now, Nigerians don't even know which budget are we implementing. Is it the 2024 budget? Is it the 2025 budget? Is it the 2026 budget? A lot of issues. And of course, the angle of capital projects funding, despite the borrowings, we are still not feeling anything. Because I remember the last time the House of Reps committee took the former Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister Wale Edu to task by asking where is the money, and he couldn't explain where the money is. So what are the issues surrounding our budget, and which budget are we really implementing now?
Well, it's a very pitiable situation that Nigeria is not running a prudent budget system. First of all, you have to understand that budgets are made and passed into law. There are appropriations made by the National Assembly. and an appropriation is a law. When the National Assembly approves a budget and passes it, it becomes an act. It's called the Appropriation Act. And what it means is that that act must be implemented within the time period the act relates to. And Nigeria chose January to December budget cycle. So it means that any budget passed in any particular year must be faithfully implemented by the executive. There's nothing like budget of 2023 going to 2024, 2024 going to 2025, 2025 going to 2026. A budget relates to a particular year. And what we have seen is very unfortunate. 2023 budget could not be implemented in 2023. It went into 2024. Then 2024 budget went on with that of 2023 till 31st of December 2024. It was extended. Then 2024 budget, that one is the tragedy that we are seeing today. Up to today, the 2024 budgets have not been dispensed with completely. 2025 budget just about 20 or 25% implemented, 2025. And we have also passed 2026 budget. So what we have now is 2024, 2025, 2026 budget running simultaneously. And they're not even running simultaneously because the ones I spoke about, 2024, they've not been implemented fully. 2025 is just beginning. 2026 in May, no implementation, except personnel costs and overheads for agencies of government. Capital projects are not being implemented. So we agreed, out of pressure and pleas by government, that we should roll 2025 budget into 2026. They promised to implement 30% of it by the 31st day of March 2026. That's 30% of 2025, with outstanding of 2024. 31st of March came. They have not even paid a naira of 2025 budget. It's now been moved to 30th of June this year. We are in May. Today is May 19. So June is here. The budgets are still the way they are. No implementation, no release of funds. Once in a while, they release trickles, 12 million, 10 million to contractors for very big projects. So I know that it will fail again. You have to, like you said, the House of Reps ask Minister for Finance, where is the money? The monies we have borrowed and all that, where is the money? It's not only him. It's not only the House of Reps. In the Senate, when he appeared before us, I asked him in the question in the committee level as well. I said, you promised us that by October last year, that you would have paid 30% of 2025 budget. At the time he appeared before us this year, nothing has been done. And I said, this was a promise you made. What happened? At that time you said you had money set aside for it. And I asked you, when are you going to pay the money? He said, you cannot say, but you pay with availability of funds. That is a political answer. I think it was SYMFONI that played it. My encounter with Waledu at the Senate committee meeting, budget session for finance. So I said, these things are happening. What you tell us today, 6 months after you come back to us, the things will be the same. Is it because you are saying these things without doing proper projections? What is going on? So everybody knows that these things are going on. Okay, we passed $21 billion loan for Mr. President. Out of the $21 billion, $3 billion was for the Eastern Railway line that runs from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. $3 billion. No work is going on this railway line. No work. And we approved that loan since last year. And when it was approved, I stood up at the Senate and used the Order 42 on self-explanation to thank Mr. President, because it's something I have championed for from my 8th Senate, that railway line. But I can't understand how that railway line has been abandoned over the years. And all the loans government has brought from the Chinese banks, they've not put that corridor in the loan. I did motion in 2018. This 10th Senate, I've done motion twice. I've challenged both the budget, non-provision of funds for that. And when now the President of the Senate promised me that they will look into it, the loan now came, $21 billion, and I saw $3 billion for Eastern Rail Line. I used other 42 self-explanation to thank Mr. President. I thought it had become Uhuru. Up to today, that money has not been applied. And we approved it. Then the question again is, this 2026 budget that they brought to us, they introduced Calabar-Maiduguri railway line from that side. So abandoning Port Harcourt to Enugu to Maiduguri. So why can that type of policy? It didn't happen. So the debts, the borrowings that are being made by government, well, government has power to borrow. You can't stop it. People who are saying that the borrowing has become excessive, what is National Assembly doing? Rubber stamp. I've explained the issue of rubber stamp before now, because there's nothing you can do to change it. So whatever you feel about it, you continue to ask the APC. That's the party in power. Yes, they are the ruling party, and they have to explain to Nigerians anything they're not happy with. They have to find answers to them.
What is the pathway for victory for the NDC ahead of 2027 elections? More so when you consider arguments here and there that someone from the minority tribe or some people have a sense of the people who should be president and those who should not be president. What do you think the pathway for victory for the NDC?
Well, I don't think the Southeast is a minority group of people in Nigeria. We are one of the major segments of the population of this country. The Igbo people of Nigeria live in every part of Nigeria. Every part of Nigeria. There's no place we go to in Nigeria that if you remove the indigenous population, the next population will not be the Igbos. Any part, even with the heat of insecurity, if you go to the far north, in the remote villages, the Igbos are there doing business. So if you take a proper census, you will notice that Igbos are so many in Nigeria. We're a very large segment of the population. So an Igbo man is not a typical minority person in Nigeria. But in the context of election in Nigeria, I don't even think that we are thinking properly. Nations that have succeeded are not looking for leaders from majority tribes. If you recall, Bill Clinton, from the state of Arkansas, is from a very small state, and he became president of America. Barack Obama is a black and a minority in the true sense of it, but he became president of America. When Bill Clinton, with his British descent in America, and from a small state of Arkansas that has very few, I think either 3 or 6 electoral college votes, he became the president of America. This is how a nation that is desirous to embrace progress think, not about whether you are from the majority tribe. Jesus Christ came from Bethlehem. Prophet Muhammad also came from not the majority place. And he bettered Islam. Jesus bettered Christianity. Bethlehem was the smallest city in Judea. And today, you talk about Jesus Christ among Christians. You talk about Prophet Muhammad among Muslims. So we should not be thinking about where anybody comes from in Nigeria. God can find somebody from any corner of Nigeria and imbue him with the best of abilities, intelligence, and disposition to make this country great. We almost got over it in 2023 because initially it was that Peter Obi will not get votes. It's an Igbo man. Some people are still thinking like that, even today, people living in the past. But when the numbers came out, it happened. Kwankwaso has even acknowledged it. I was one of the 3 people from Labour Party that discussed with NNPP on an alliance with Labour Party. And at that time, not even an alliance, for Kwankwaso to be a running mate to Peter Obi. We had that meeting 2 days. Myself, Datti Ahmed, and Abure represented Labour Party. NNPP put forward Alajbuba Galadima, Mr. Bafa, formerly of the Net Fund, and Mr. Johnson from Lagos. 6 of us met for 2 days. And we were not able to agree on who becomes the vice president and who should be the presidential candidate. When they said that Peter Obi, he was dismissed. Like, how many votes will he get? After 2023, all that now changed. Because Kwankwaso has now seen that it is not so. Obi got 6.1 million votes and he got about 1.4 million votes. So now he knows that the way of thinking then is wrong. So that is why now he's working very hard to see that his partnership with Obi will bet a new Nigeria. He knows that the voters are no longer thinking in the primordial sense or tribal sentiment. Some people are still playing the ethnic card today, saying that nobody should vote for Obi. Obi will not get vote. And some people are saying it without shame on television. Anybody who wishes Nigeria greatness should know that a leader that will emancipate Nigeria can come from the smallest ethnic group in Nigeria. What is important is that Nigeria gets somebody who does what he says. Somebody who will be there for all Nigeria. Somebody who can give us the Rwandan model. What is the Rwandan model? The case of Hutsis and Tutsis that were killing themselves. It's like the Igbos and the Hausas or the Yorubas and the Igbos or anybody, any ethnic group against the other. There was genocide. And eventually, when God intervened, peace came. Paul Kagame became president. He fought his way from exile to change the government in Rwanda and turn the country around. When I watch television today, people will be saying, oh, minister went to Kigali. This person went to Kigali. President went to Kigali. We should be asking why is Kigali the destination for civilized discussions globally now. Because he came and ended tribalism in Rwanda. If you ask anybody, where are you from? Are you a Tutsi or Hutu? He will tell you, I'm a Rwandan. I tried it in 2024. I went to Kigali for a conference. And I got to the reception in the hotel where I was being checked in. 2 beautiful girls were there. They looked almost similar. So I asked the girl, are you, out of anxiety, I said, are you Hutsi or Tutsi? She didn't talk to me. I asked her the question again. She didn't talk to me. I said, you don't want to ask me, are you offended? She did not talk to me. The other girl with her in the reception told me, we are Rwandans. Hey, it sank a piercing nail to my heart to show me that we're wasting our time in Nigeria. While on that tour, that visit, I went to the war memorial where they buried millions of people that were killed during that genocide. We went there, and they'll take you through the beginning to the end. You go around and see at the museum all things that happened, the massacres and all that, and then you come out to the at the end of the tour, and you feel so pained. They will take you to mass graves. They say, here, 5,000 people are buried here. 20,000 people were buried here. So Rwanda became a nation that was conscious of their past. And they decided to break away from their past. Today, what they have is Rwanda. They don't have Tutsi, they don't have Hutu. They must have the blood of the old, but they have not embraced each other. That's what Nigeria must do. This thing will come here and deceive ourselves. It will not help Nigeria. Where somebody will be pretending to be a Nigerian and tell you Nigeria is for all. And when he gets power, he begins to deal with his people. Others will be just onlookers. It's not good. So what we are going to do in Nigeria is to go back to prepare for a new Nigeria, where Nigeria will be available to everybody, irrespective of your tribe, irrespective of your origin, where opportunities available to Nigerian youths will be even, where our youth will have equal access to employment opportunities. We are seeing some of these things happen and represent people who feel marginalized. In the ongoing custom recruitment exercise now, I serve in the Senate Committee on Customs. And we're given one slot per senator in the committee for employment. My candidate nominee has been turned down several times, and each time I have to come back from behind to make a case for him to be invited. And at this stage they are now, they've not called him again. I'm making efforts to see if he can get that same one opportunity my colleagues got. And if you see this thing at this level, what do you think about Nigeria? The Controller General of Customs, understand, is aware. I'm waiting for him to come back. I'll go to his office and ask him, why should this be the case? If myself as a senator can be denied the right to nominate one person of my constituency in this recruitment, you are taking thousands of people. What justification would that be? What is it? So people are suffering this type of thing everywhere in this country. And you say that we will continue this way. Very soon, it will become, if you are a member of APC, or your APC wins your state or your constituency, you will not be entitled to anything. Nigeria cannot continue this way. That is why we are still out there to tell government and those who are in authority to help this country. Anywhere you go to, globally, you see Nigerians doing well. I was chairman of Senate Committee on Diaspora and Non-Governmental Organizations between 2023 and 2024. I've gone around and I've seen that Nigerians are walking and holding their heads high, both Yoruba, Hausas, because as they are messing up the country here, there are Northerners who are brilliant minds that have developed overseas. Some of them have gone to Cambridge, some of them have gone to Oxford. I was traveling back to Nigeria from London, and I met two young graduates that just finished from Oxford with PhD. One in Cambridge, PhD, one in Oxford, Cambridge. And I interacted with them. So all those hopeless people who are still living the country blindly, trying to tell a youth from northern Nigeria not to vote for a certain ethnic group, their time will soon run out. Because these young people that are acquiring Western education, their minds are developed. There was a day in the Senate we were talking about insurgency in the Northeast. I blame the governors. What is happening is because of no education. An educated mind is a civilized mind, is a light unto the nation. So they should devote all their money into training their children. So there's a time people from the north will challenge their parents. The children will challenge their parents. And today it's already happening. Peter Obi is popular among the northern youths. And the old politicians are talking about North will not vote for Igbo man. And I'm happy that Kwankwaso, in his recent interview, said that in 2023, his daughter told him to go and work with Peter Obi. 2023, Kwankwaso said it on television. Go and work with Peter Obi. This man represents the change we need in Nigeria. And the father was running for president. The daughter told him. So for him to say it publicly, you can see that there are so many people in the families in the north who now know that we cannot continue this way.
Let's wrap up this way. Have you reflected on the scenario where it looks as if removing Tinubu from office is weakened? And if no, what's the optimism going to 2027?
Well, anything Nigerians people want should be done. I'm not saying that Obi, for example, must win the election. I'm not saying that any other candidate, for that matter, must win the election. Or whoever becomes candidate of any party must win the election. Or that Tinubu must lose the election. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that your record should carry you through in seeking either re-election or election to come in for the first time. And that the right and the power of the people must be respected in the democracy that we have. If you have done well by your own assessment, and the people you are leading or governing say that you have not done well, you should bow out. You submit to their will through the ballot. You may be saying that you have done well. There are people are saying you have not done well. Allow them to decide it. If they vote yes for you, you continue. So that is what we should be looking towards. And the electoral body should know that they cannot manipulate this election. Nigerian elections will not continue to be controversial because the world will leave us behind. The rest of the world will leave us behind. We must be looking for a way to have free and fair election. Our constitution is a paradox. Our constitution makes a president who is contesting an election to choose electoral officials. He appoints the INEC chairman, and we are busy going around talking about free and fair election. Electoral reform is key to sustenance of democracy. Constitutional amendment is imperative because selfishness has not allowed those who are in authority to pursue the egalitarian reforms we're talking about. I was national chairman of APGA, and one day, the chief electoral officer of South Africa came here in Abuja. We were in a IPAC conference, and she delivered a paper because she's a woman. She told us how she got appointed. The president did not appoint her chairman of South Africa Electoral Commission. There is a process. But here in Nigeria, I'm not blaming Tinubu or the President Tinubu because he is making use of the constitution he has to his advantage. He appoints everybody. Every agency of government in Nigeria, the leadership is appointed by the president. He appoints people to the armed forces leadership. He appoints people everywhere. Immigration, custom, everything is in the hands of the president. The president of Nigeria, the strongest president in the whole world. He appoints somebody who will conduct an election, he will run. So Nigerians should be thinking properly. So I'm not saying that by all means that Tinubu must go. But I'm challenging him as somebody who has been part of a democratic struggle through NADECO to do something that will be a legacy in Nigeria. That legacy is not railway line or roads. All these things they are showing us on television, coastal highway. They are not legacies. The real legacy Tinubu will leave in Nigeria will be to prepare this country for genuine democracy. That will be the legacy. If he has not understood it, I want you to understand it through this my program. I don't look at where he has built road or this and that. Let him, first of all, ensure that we have true democracy here. Because a nation that practices true democracy will never fail. The people will always have the right to choose those who lead them, not people who will be imposed on them. And there's no society that will choose bad people and put them in leadership. It is electoral banditry and fraud that bring people into leadership in Nigeria. That is our ban. So let him leave a legacy of purpose. The person who was about doing it, Nigeria was unlucky. He died, Umaru Yar'Adua. Because when he won the election, he came in and on his inauguration he said, I acknowledge that I have come to power through a flawed election, and I promise you electoral reform. That's what he did. And he set up the Justice West Electoral Reform Committee. Go and pick the record of that committee. See the people who served in that committee, how they were selected, and their recommendations. But unfortunately, he died. The devil took him away from Nigeria. If Umaru Yar'Adua had lived for 4 years and another term of 4 years as president of Nigeria, we won't be in this mess. So I'm challenging those who have power now to stop thinking about self-preservation. Let them think about the well-being of Nigerian people, well-being of our democracy. When things are done properly, nobody loses. Because any government that is changed, the people that will come will be thinking about the people. You know, let that be a culture. Not when people are crying. You are talking about how powerful your party is, how you have conquered the rest of Nigeria. There's nobody who will be president of Nigeria and decide to annihilate everybody that will not be able to do so. There's nobody. If you give me the powers and I want to run anybody out of this country, I will run the person out of this country. But it is for you to decide to have a break and put the country in a different direction. The president controls EFCC. President controls every agency. So if you are not for him, he can set them on you. So we need liberation. The country needs liberation. And only somebody who wants to lay the seed for a great Nigeria that can do it. And that's the opportunity the president that is on seat has. Unfortunately, he has not done that. Leadership is what comes from God. And if leadership that you hold comes from God, you think about how to make the ground level for everybody. Our constitution in section 14.3 speaks about federal character in all things that we do. Appointments. That section says that no part of Nigeria shall have preponderance of people appointed to government or agencies of government against the other parts of Nigeria. In other words, there shall be equal opportunities to all nations, all the parts of the country. How you bring people into public service. You have to take every part of Nigeria into focus. Give the youth equal opportunity from all parts of Nigeria. In recruitment, in anything, in the armed forces, everything. Can anybody tell me that that is what is happening in Nigeria today? It is in the constitution. It is not at president's discretion. In the 8th Senate, when they came to get confirmation for members of the EFCC board, and they brought 4 nominees, they excluded the Southeast and the South-South. I'm happy that I stood up and opposed the confirmation. Because if I had confirmed that position, Bauer and one other person would have been in the board from the Northeast. The secretary to the commission was from the Southwest, and one other person was from Kaduna. I asked them 6 positions that would have gone 1-1 geopolitical zone. You excluded South-South and Southeast. I fought it and mobilized my colleagues who shut it down. The nominations were sent back to Buhari. And it took him 1 year and some months to correct it and now balance it. He brought somebody from Cross River to represent the South-South. He brought somebody from Enugu to represent Southeast. And he went around 1-1. So this is what we are talking about in Nigeria. That section of the Constitution, 14.3, I want the president to go and read it and do a self-assessment of what he has done. And APC must begin to do impact assessment of its policies on the Nigerian people. Impact assessment. If you go to Niger Delta, there's what is called environmental impact assessment due to oil exploration activities. If your exploration activities damage the aquaculture, the environment, you have to know what to do. There must be remediation. Otherwise, that place will become abandoned place. So please, help me as a journalist to reach out to those who are in authority and those who want to come into authority, that Nigeria is a beautiful country, blessed by God. We have so many things to make our citizens happy. Look at South Africa that we liberated from the apartheid oppression of the black people. Look at them now killing Nigerians and asking us to go home. People that we set free through our struggle, our resources, starting from Murtala Mohammed down the line. Nigeria was in the front fighting for independence of South Africa. Black rule. They let the black people rule South Africa. With music and everything. Who owns the land? I want to know who owns the land. I want to know. That's Sonny Okosun from Nigeria. The music went around the world. I want to know who owns the land. The song went everywhere. Nigeria put everything there. And today, they're chasing us away. A Nigeria where we had everything going for us. Now, Nigerians are going to other countries to be subjected to humiliation because life has become unbearable in this God-blessed country.
Distinguished, let's wrap it up here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you on set.
Thank you very much.